Great performance by Lions. Certainly Paul Newman. This is Norman Koshnick. Hello, everyone. It's Eyes on Cricket with Norman Koshnick. Going a little bit early. In fact, it's about 45 minutes earlier because, unfortunately, Pakistan are coming to a bit of a close now. Their innings is currently 9 for 232, with Nathan Lyon just taking 5 wickets. He's 5 for 82 at the moment. This would normally be finished at 11, by 11 o'clock, but I fear this may be over sooner rather than later, and it's really unfortunate. The Pakistan will go down 1-0 in the series. They probably don't deserve that. In my opinion, they deserve to win the series. Paul Newman's right here, 5 wickets for Lyon. The writing's on the wall for Pakistan. Yeah, but undeservedly so. They deserve to have won this match. Well, more so won the series, but they haven't. But Australia's fought bloody hard this time, and the bowling strength has come to the fore in the first innings, with both those bowlers getting 5 and 4 respectively. And now Nathan Lyon taking 5 in the final innings, which is an overall team performance of some magnitude. Shrapson hasn't taken a wicket, I don't think, in the test. I was just speaking. I had a very good chat on a WhatsApp group with Nita Dar, one of the stars of the Pakistan women's team. Hello, Nita Dar, I hope you're watching. Lada Mandol from Bangladesh, and Ramana Ahmed, who's just taken her 50th ODI wicket and is only a matter of 40-odd runs from getting 1,000 runs. So quite an all-rounder effort from both all those 3 girls. And Lada Mandol played fantastically well today for Bangladesh against Australia. She scored 33 and bowled pretty well too, and had Australia in the ropes at one stage. Unfortunately, though, Australia got through that match. But Bangladesh, first time in the World Cup, first time playing Australia, almost beat them, which is very, very impressive indeed. So Shrapson's bowling to Norman. 9 for 234. Now, I mean, effectively, they're 117 runs from the Australian score to win, but they've got no wickets left. So in terms of overs, they probably have to survive another 27 overs or thereabouts, and I don't think they're going to be doing that. Well, you never know, do you? Because England only recently, as last few nights, so 9 for 114 or something like that, and they had a 90-odd run partnership between their number 10, 11 bats, and they got over 200, which is like a record-breaking. The first time I think the number 10, 11 batting combination actually with the highest scorers that we've seen. So 9 for 234, still 116 runs in arrears from Australia. Paul Newman says, thanks for starting early. Well, I'm glad to. There's not many people on because they probably were expecting us to come on after probably watching the match. Or some have lost interest because their team's losing. My South Sydney Rabbitohs won. I should put the hat on there. I have my South Sydney Rabbitohs hat here. They beat the mighty Roosters. They beat the mighty Roosters. Rabbitohs has won tonight, which is a very big win. For my team, they've lost the first 2. So that's a little ode for South. I'll put that on there. Put back my normal hat on with my. There we go. How many overs left? I think it was 117 they meant to bowl on the day, or 15 in the last hour, and I think it's pretty much that last hour. Bring on Stark, or to finish it off. Well, you would think so, wouldn't you? But I think they're going to give Lyon every chance to get a 6 wicket. Khawaja must be very happy. Khawaja, of course, scored yet again a century.
Walk around there, Naseem Shah. David Warren is copying Hassan Ali's celebration.
Australia's having some fun, but I have some good faith because it shouldn't be anything other than that. They're mimicking the movements of both Hassan Ali and Shaheen.
Right, big shout. Whether that's turning too much, whether he's back enough on his stumps. Australia have no reviews.
So 9 for 234 are Pakistan. they could perform a miracle here. It is possible they could perform a miracle, but I don't think they will. But we'll just wait and see. They've got some 20 overs left. They can.
Well, just evade Steve Smith. That's just summed up being in the slips for Steve Smith. Everything's just been diving. There's barely anything's been a simple chance.
No, well, they're trying to suggest it was a catch. Biram Marani.
Hi Norman, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine too.
Well, I've come on a little bit early here. We've got a funny gap between our screens. Have you got your phone turned which way have you got your phone turned?
Straight way up. Yeah.
Right, you haven't got it done sideways. Doesn't matter. Yes, well, it looks as though Pakistan, that are now 9 for 235, unless a miracle happens, will probably lose this test, which is pretty sad because they've fought hard, Pakistan, and so Australia.
I would say Norman, see, one thing I'm happy that the test is giving a result, and
That's true.
And really hats off to Cummins' captaincy yesterday, where his decision was to make sure that the test had a result. It could have gone either way very easily. Pakistan could have won this match also very easily given the number of overs and 351. So and considering that they scored 70 overnight, so they just had to score 270 odd in the whole day. So if you ask me, in a way I would say Pakistan deserved to actually lose this match. The reason being because they had a too defensive mindset. Like if you see the first half of the first 33 overs of the day, they just scored 63 runs, if I'm not wrong. So that's like what, not even 2 runs and over. So if that is a mindset, okay, we understand, but
That's true.
yeah,
Had
did not
Australia
want to
batted
lose
another, a session or so longer, we'll be looking at a drawdown for sure.
Yeah. So hats off to Cummins' captaincy. See, it could have gone easily both ways, but this is how, his decision. Forget Australia. I think it was good for the overall Test cricket as a whole. The decision that he made, like I'm actually looking at it on that way, and that's how all tests need to be played, where captains or teams need to okay, you might lose also, but look at it in a long-term way. So I would
understand
actually
what you're saying, because it is true. A lot of matches, they go out, they get 500 in the lead in the last innings, and it's kind of a bit too sort of grounded to a halt, so to speak. Look, this game's not. I mean, you would argue that at 9 for 235, with some 25 overs, up to 25 overs left of the day, you think that Pakistan can't get there. The miracles do happen. These two could block for the next 25 overs. It's not completely.
See, at this point, if Pakistan are able to clinch a draw or get a draw out from this point, then I agree that's a miracle. And then they would deserve it. But looking at the overall, the way they played the whole day.
Anyway, just bowled. Cummins just took the wicket. He's just comprehensively bowled. Nothing.
So
that's
so the eyes on cricket curse.
Yeah, just as I think all 3 stumps fell actually.
Okay.
Cummins is extremely happy.
One way, I'm also happy that this happened, so it actually boosts India chance of coming in the WTC final.
Well, at this point, you'd think this would almost confirm Australia as the one of the finalists of the World Test Championship now.
So they have played. Australia has played 8 Test matches till now. Won 5, draw 3. Correct.
Yeah, but they've also got that percentage ratio. They're streets ahead now.
Yeah. So that's why, because they have not lost any till now.
And they're playing Sri Lanka. They're playing 2 tests that were announced in, I think, July in Gaul.
But that's part of the WTC?
Why wouldn't it be? Of course it would be.
Okay. That was part of the program. So just the dates got announced now. Like,
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
not
The
understand.
actual physical dates have been announced. I published
Okay.
them on my community page. Actually, they're
No,
coming
no,
late
I saw
June, early
them.
July.
A lot of ODIs and T20s and 2 tests in the end. But I don't
Correct.
understand why both the tests are at the same venue. Gale,
It's probably a
that's
COVID reason. I would say. I would say it's a COVID
okay.
reason. So I'm having private conversations on a WhatsApp page with Lata Mandol from Bangladesh, Ramana Ahmed, who's very proud of herself, Nita Dar from Pakistan. I've got a little chat going on, and they're having a bit of
Mhm.
fun. They're great
Okay.
girls. They've got great camaraderie between countries like that. I love seeing that. It's women's cricket. There
And
is a lot more.
yeah, the Women's World Cup is at a very interesting point with the West Indies South Africa match getting, how can I say,
Well, that's
both getting
critical.
1 point due to rain. That actually made things tougher for India. So
Well,
West Indies,
India have to win that to make the semi-finals. If they
yeah.
lose that, they're out because England's
No,
going to win the last
but if
match.
see, if South Africa would have won against West Indies, then India would have had a good chance of going through, even if they would have lost,
Correct.
because their run rate was very good. Right now for West Indies, they will go through if either England or India loses. So if England loses the last match or India loses the last match, West Indies goes through.
You would have to think that England are going to win their last match. They're playing. I think they're playing Bangladesh, if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
correct. Bangladesh, yeah.
So that would put them on 8 points. South Africa are on 9, regardless whether they win or lose. Australia on 12. So Australia, South Africa, and England, based on England victory, will see all those 3 teams through. It's going to be between the West Indies or India for that 4th spot. And
Correct.
that'll come down to the only way that India gets through is if they beat South Africa. Full stop. If they don't, they're out.
And I think South Africa is on 9 points, right now.
Correct. So they're through.
So,
They're going to
I
finish
think one
second.
and two, number 1 and 2 is already decided. That's basically the. So who will be 3 and 4? So it depends.
You would
Like
argue though that England will beat Bangladesh. You would think so. Although for God's sake, as I said, Australia today. Oh my God, they did a job on Bangladesh did a job on.
in fact,
How are you?
South Africa can decide who they want to play in the semi-final, whether it will be England or whether it will be West Indies or India.
Exactly. Mosen, how are you? Get more into the center. You're half your face is up. Go to you. That's it.
Good evening, Ram. How are you, Norman?
We're good. We started much earlier because the game finished, as you can see earlier. Pakistan, unfortunately, didn't have it in there.
No.
Have it in them to actually win the match. And yeah, it's sad. I feel sad for Pakistan because they really played well in this series, and they just didn't have that. And Australia, but at the same time, Australia played well. But yeah, it's kind of a Cummins really is the player of the series in terms of his captaincy and his bowling. Even though there's been some batting superlatives for Usman Khawaja and the like, I think it was Cummins' effort in particular that made it.
I think if you sum it up, I think you look at Pakistan. They were par team. They were not superior as Australia. Australia, coming from Ashes win with 4 test matches, they're really superior team at the moment compared to Pakistan. There was only a couple of players that we were hoping that they will come good in terms of Babar, Azhar Ali. We didn't know about the openers as much. There was like 4 test matches for Shafiq before this one. Bowling attack, we knew they would probably be better than their batting in terms of Shaheen and Hassan Ali in past have done well, but in this series it's been it's sub par performance from the bowling attack as well. Apart from 5 of the guys getting 100, Pakistan have got a lot of good things to look forward in going in future. I think next 2 years we touched base that after Karachi. If you remember that we said Pakistan probably in another 2 years. With keeping those young lads going forward, I think it would be a really good team. They fought well, they tried hard, but Australia was far too superior for them. And you mentioned Cummins as your man of the series. I think Uzi's right up there as well for his 490 odd runs. Where no one else scored 100, he's the only one who could have had 400s there. 290s, 200 plus scores. And even this game, if he didn't score that 100, I think Australia would have been struggling for that lead as well. But yeah, phenomenal sort of performance
I would
from Australia.
I would definitely give the player of series to Usman Khawaja, but this match I would give the player of match to Cummins, and that too for his captaincy.
Agree, 100%. I think very brave captaincy, and really pleasing to see Nathan Lyon coming good as well with 5 wickets. We were actually talking about it yesterday, if you remember, Norman, that he hasn't had a five-for, he hasn't dominated and taken wickets to get Australia to a position where they can win. And this was the day. He bowled with really good flight. His pace was really good with low 80s to mid 80s, where he allowed the ball to spin. He should have had Barber earlier on when he inside edge and Smith caught that and didn't review that ball. So he should have had Barber earlier on, but his 5 is also really good. And Cummins, for me, his captaincy this game was phenomenal. His declaration, a lot of people were saying that he's 30 short, 40 short. He's declared early, but last day 350. It's always going to be a tough ask, given that Pakistan got through the new ball yesterday. But it was really going to be a tough ask with reverse swing, and I think his captaincy and bowling change was really good.
But Mohsen, with the DRS reviews, both the teams were horrible. I would say not only Pakistan but also 100%. Australia. And the Rizwan wicket was a howler. Like
what was going on there? Why did Bubba? There was the most important partnership left in their team structure. It was pivotal. They had to put up regardless, and they would have won it.
It was silly that Bubba didn't take that review because that actually led from Fawad burning that review. He knew he was gone. It was nothing but gone. He burned out that review that allowed Rizwan to selflessly let that review remaining for Barber to take it if needs be. So he just walked out. So I think it was silly from Rizwan.
I would put it, Mohsen, I would put a little blame on Babar Azam also. Like, what was he doing? Means he was at the non-striker for both those decisions. He, as a captain, should have said no. Like, if he saw his plum, exactly. He should have said, Fawad, no, you should not take that. And in case of Rizwan, still they had one review left. It was not that they were out of reviews. Okay, keep the Fawad Alam issue aside. But there was still one review left, and Rizwan just walked off, and Babal did nothing.
No excuse at all. I'm just saying that
and that could have changed the match also. Who knows? Because Rizwan is a great. He could have easily batted long, and with Babar seeing that Rizwan
I'm
with
frustrated.
him,
I'm very frustrated to see that. Okay, it wasn't the reason why they lost, but it could have helped.
Not true. And there was a lot of talk about Azhar Ali's review as well when he swept Nathan Lyon. There was a lot of talk about whether Spike was big enough to give it, or there's enough evidence to give it inside edge or not. But the decision was given in favour of Australia. So I'm not going to say too much, but the commentators constantly talk about, especially Hazeman. Mark was talking about that decision quite a lot. That that decision should have been held with the umpire, where he's given not out. So, those little things you look at in hindsight now because the game is over. But I think in overall Australia today or this Test match, they were far too superior.
But when it comes down to the fact that Pat Cummins took a bold, you could argue, a somewhat calculated risk of declaring early yesterday, earlier than most captains probably would have, making a result-driven match, as what Baran said earlier, was excellent. And let's be honest, if they declared a couple of sessions or hours later, we would have a draw again. It is a rather impressive effort. Pat Cummins is getting better as a captain as he goes. I still don't think he's quite that clear and out great captain, but he's doing well within his limitations. And I know it was done in a bit of fun, but when Swepson did the Shaheen type thank you after taking his wicket, and Warner did that too for Hassan Ali. As long as it's in the right spirit and both teams are laughing, then I'm happy. I hope it is, because it's not it's not, you know, it would be a bit annoying to do that. It would be a bit, a bit too cheeky. But, you know, would Australia have done that if they lost? I guess they wouldn't have done.
I think the spirit of the two teams, if you see from a lot of media, a lot of photographs coming out of the players' box and everything, the spirit was really good. The players been very friendly off the pitch as well. So I don't think there was any ill in that one. There was like all banter in good fun. So I don't see any issue with that. With Warner doing impression of Hassan Ali and Schwepson doing Afridi, you know, I think it's good banter.
As long as both teams are laughing, it's all right.
Yeah, exactly. Both teams was laughing, and it was a good laugh.
Now, I just looked at something. I looked at the score sheet, the scorecard there for Pakistan's innings. And what's interesting to me is Lyon took 5 wickets, yes, but they weren't the tail end. He actually took the wickets of Imam Al-Haq, Azhar Ali, and Babar Azam.
That's true. That's true.
So that's pretty significant. It's because those 3 guys, who you would argue are generally very good at playing spin, were the ones that actually, although Azhar Ali's wicket wasn't out, we knew that in the end. Oh, I don't think it was out. That was, what do you think of that? That wasn't out, was it? What do you think?
Yeah,
Baram, what do you think?
No, I didn't see that wicket. I didn't see that wicket.
Well, it was a very minor little spike, but it was spikes before the ball came through and spikes after. It could have been a stump noise of some sort. So it was interesting. It didn't look out to me.
It did look out. But the thing with Nathan Lyon we were talking about yesterday was, you know, how he bowled tight. He bowled a lot of overs. He's bowled holding role all through the first 2 test matches, and even this test match. Schwepson wasn't successful in holding that role or performing the role that he was put into team. So it was really disappointing to see Schwepson. Schwepson didn't perform his role to the best. I think his role was more like supporting the fast bowlers and getting the ball rolled. And when he's thrown the ball, and you and I have spoken that with David as well when he was on the show, probably day 1 or day 2, he and I both agreed that, you know, he's got a bowl into mid-80s to late 80s. He was bowling too quick, and that's where he was trying to bowl faster and faster. He landed a few full tosses as well. He was constantly over 90s. His slowest delivery was about mid-80s, and that's when he got flight, drop, and spin when he bowled that pace. But he was constantly over 90, and I've sent a message to Fuzzy as well. I said, well, would you think he was bowling too fast? So you know, I think that's probably what I was really surprised at how Schwepson was bowling in mid to high 90s and trying to land the ball rather than just spinning the ball. And you and I touched base that if Shane Warne was there trying to spin the ball, he wouldn't have gone past lunchtime because he would have spun the team out way before. So that's what my concern is going forward for Schwepson. And he should go and play in Sri Lanka. He should be still in India for the frame of mind. You know, I think he's got potentials, but we need to get him going in the game situation where he learns a bit more. So that's my read. But I was very happy for Nathan Lyon to come good, because these next 2 series for him will decide whether he continues to play for another 2 years or whether his time is up.
Well, they're showing some like the little byplay of the 2 teams. Yeah, you're right. It was done with a lot of tongue in cheek, a lot of fun, a lot of giggles, and both teams have done it. They bagged the way that both Labuschagne and Smith let the ball go, and the kissing of Shaheen, and so yeah, I think it was in the right mood, and especially because they were. You know what? I think it's a really good thing that they were actually staying in the same hotel, same breakfast areas, same buses. I actually think that's a good touch, and I think more teams should do that. I really do, because that adds to the spirit, doesn't it?
I think
so. The players every day together.
Stay in the same room.
No,
maybe not. No, that's probably pushing it a little bit too far.
They had 2 separate floors. So Pakistan was on one floor, and then there was an empty floor in the middle, and then there was Australia. So there was no teams in between floors for security purposes. So security was in the middle floor and the bottom floor, and then, you know, there was like that's how the
It would
security.
be like Shine during breakfast telling Warner, "I'm in room 204."
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, Suman Awashi and Robert M. and Paul Newman are all here, our regulars, and Vasant Narain. They're basically saying, I said that Australia couldn't wrap it up a series. Well, it's been true. And I think Australia have finally learnt a way of doing it. And Nathan Lyon today, I'll take my hat off to him. As I said, he took 3 major scalps early on in the innings,
Yes.
which is really, quite significant when you think about it. He didn't just take the tail or anything like that. He took significant wickets and actually had a major part to play in the second innings, which, we all doubted him. So he has won the Test series, obviously along with Cummins and Stark and the rest of them.
Yep.
But Lyon has certainly done the job. His wicket tally now, he's now 13th overall in the world
on the ladder.
Wicket takers. 13th.
Very good.
It's pretty damn good.
Very
So you got what's his name? Oh god, Ashwin's 8th. He's rocketed. He's now 8th in the world. It's pretty amazing.
Yes, Ashwin's got a few years in him, so I think he will go past.
No, but Norman, one more point. I would say Steve Smith would be heaving a sigh of relief. Otherwise, with that, it's shocking that looking at drop catches by him.
But his batting was pretty poor too, actually.
Well,
he and Warner haven't had a good series.
Warner did not look comfortable, if you ask me.
No.
Steve Smith looked comfortable, but Warner did not look. Okay, he was scoring some runs, Warner, but he was not at all looking comfortable.
Yeah. I think I agree. Warner's only scored 150 on this tour with 6 bats. He did not look comfortable at all. Especially he got worked up with Shaheen bowling. Couple of short pitch up his armpit, and then he was from the fuller delivery. He's got he didn't get his feet moving and whatnot. I'm not sure if he's in that right frame of Test cricket mind. I hope the IPL will get him going, because now he's away. I think that he's not playing the one white ball cricket. So he's away, and then he'll join the IPL team. I hope the IPL, the white ball cricket, get him going before Sri Lanka tour, because the Sri Lanka tour has been announced today as well. The 2 Test series has been announced. So that's their next Test assignment, and India would be really happy because Australia have done a lot of massive favour to India by winning now. So India would be back in contention easily now with Pakistan losing for that Test championship, and I think it's looking more like Australia versus India now. I'm pretty sure that India will down Australia, but I'm pretty sure Australia will down Sri Lanka as well in Sri Lanka. So it's all really adding up really well. And England still disappointed in West Indies. If you saw last night, they were struggling. They're still struggling. So I'm not sure what's going on with England cricket, but I think India and Australia are lining up really well for that Test championship.
Now Australia, the Usman Khawaja got player of the series, which we should expect.
Yeah.
Which is, he got 496 runs at a batting average of 165.33. Well, really superior. But then again, Pakistan had 5 batsmen score centuries as well, and 1 man scoring 2. That's interesting. Brahm, you got to leave, do you?
Yeah, I have a dinner appointment, so I'll be leaving. So bye, Norman. Bye, Mohsin.
What's for dinner? What's for dinner?
We are going out, so we have not decided which restaurant.
Nice. Oh, have fun, man. Enjoy your meal.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Brahm.
Bye. Take care.
See you later.
No worries.
So yeah, the tour between Australia and Sri Lanka starts pretty soon. Actually, it's June 7th is the first match. So they're going to be going straight from, most of the guys who are involved with the IPL are going straight to the IPL.
Yeah.
But they're going to be, there won't be much time between drinks, so to speak. Let me have a look here. What's the story here? You've got so June 7th, 8th and 11th, they've got the T20s in Colombo. Then June 14, 16, 19, and 21 and 24, they're playing 5 ODIs in Colombo, Kandy and Colombo, and then 2 Test matches at Galle. I would have liked them to play less ODIs and more Tests.
Yeah. 2 Test series is not good.
The days of 5 ODIs,
It's too
it's
much.
too much.
It's too much. I think they got to realize with Test Championship now in play, they got to play at least a 3 Test match series, and with the teams that are contesting more, they got to play 4 or 5 Test matches. You got to play more Test matches to bring people to understand that cricket, one day cricket. I know it's a lot of commercial success. A lot of people actually do have interest financially with the commercial aspect of it, but one day cricket is more dying than you think. So I think Test match cricket they got to revive a bit more and more, and especially series like this. And series like this would bring more energy to Test cricket. I think this Test series was
Sorry.
classic. I think I'm hearing feedback. Norman, is that?
That wasn't feedback. That wasn't feedback. It was actually me accidentally hitting a button.
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
Fair enough. So what
So-
I was saying that this Test series was classic, old school Test series, hard fought. Australia should have won in Karachi. Babar and Rizwan came to rescue, and they batted that second inning for the nearly 2 days. Was just another classic way of drawing Test match. And again, this Test match where Australia were 5 for 205, and then that late middle order had a fantastic partnership to rescue them from going from 5 for 205 to end up scoring 395, and then Pakistan were cruising when Cummins and Stark started to get the ball reversing, and Pakistan lost 7 for 20. So it was classic Test match. I think Lahore and Karachi both. Rawalpindi not so much, but where they played a big part in Rawalpindi as well. But I think for cricket lovers, they would watch this. They would go away from this series and think that was a really good, hard-fought series. And of course, Australia was superior. But before the series, you and I touched base, and we said probably Australia will comfortably win. We said probably 2-1 or 2-0. But the results being 1-0, it's more closely fought than what we initially thought. Australia being such a superior team compared to Pakistan. But I think Pakistan is on the right track. A lot of credits to be given to Pakistan management, securities, to be able to hold the Test series successfully, and that should lead both England and New Zealand to now continue with their tours, and then all the other teams should now comfortably come and play in Pakistan. So I think this is a right foot through. Big first step. But in terms of Pakistan cricket, they shouldn't be so disappointed. I know they will be disappointed because obviously they thought the game was on when they had a really good session last night. But they should still feel really proud of themselves that they've pushed.
Oh, Pakistan for getting the result from it are going to be extremely proud. They've completed the Test series without a hitch. Great security, great amenities, great conditions. Players are raving about it. Talked highly every single time they talked. It was magnificent. Just quickly, I'm giving a shout out to Robert M, who's become a new member of the level above subscription. Thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate that. It's good to have people do that because over time we'll reward you in many ways. I'm still trying to organise my caps and everything, but we've got them there. It's just a matter of if you want them, let me know. I can certainly get them out to you. The shirts I'm wearing, there's even spray jackets. We've got one. In fact, what's her name? Aparna's got one. It looks great. It's a light blue. It's actually not like the colour you're wearing at the moment. It's like is that the Brisbane Heat top?
No, this is Australia top.
What is it?
Yeah, this is the Aussie.
Oh,
top.
right. Because when you were hired, I only saw the top part, which had that light green look.
No, I left Brisbane Heat in two.
Are you wearing that deliberately because Australia won? Is that the reason why?
Exactly right. I've done Test match against Pakistan when I was when Pakistan toured last time. So I was in the Aussie camp, and because I've had all those Pakistani players who toured, they were part of my under-19s. But obviously I was in the Aussie camp, so it was interesting. Interesting. That was Baba's first tour as well. So I had all these guys having a meal at my place. So it was interesting because in the morning I was in Aussie camp, but I've had those guys in the under-19s when I was coaching Pakistan. But yeah, look now being in Australia, I'm really happy because I know a lot of the guys from Australian team as well. With New South Wales cricket, and and with the Sydney Sixers and whatnot. So I'm really happy that they went to Pakistan. They didn't send a B team or what you call is a development team. The full strength test squad went there, which was really good. And Uzi did spoke about it in Sydney that they shouldn't fear going in Pakistan. So that in that I'm really happy that the whole tour has gone really well, regardless of result. We said that yesterday as well. Regardless of result, the test match itself was really good to watch. I've been watching all the 15 days of Test cricket that has gone through, and every Test match gone right to the wire, and we were expecting results in Karachi and in Lahore as well. So, I'm very happy the way the Test series has gone, and I'm looking forward to one-day series as well, because obviously that's something Pakistan have to now win. They're bottom of the one-day ladder at the moment, and if they don't start winning, they'll miss out the automatic qualification for World Cup, and they will have to go through a qualifier. Obviously, Bangladesh at the moment is topping the table, but Pakistan is sitting right at the bottom. So it is really, now that all the ICC champions, the Test Championship, the One Day World Cup, the T20s, they've put a bit more stakes on it, so you can't take any of the games lightly. So I'm really looking forward to that one-day series now, and they all be played in Lahore, so the teams don't have to uproot and whatnot, and they'll stay in Lahore. But Pakistan have to keep taking those one days more seriously than Australia, because Australia is comfortably through to the World Cup. They don't have to qualify, but Pakistan, if they don't win, they will end up playing a qualifier, which is not what Pakistan cricket would like to do. So there's lot to look forward to, and lots on stake as well.
Oh, look, it's been I've really enjoyed watching this. I mean, I enjoyed immensely one of the recent series between Australia and India in Australia, and when they play in India, they're great series as well. But this is certainly up there. And Pakistan, I thought, missed out an opportunity here. They could easily have got across the line in these matches. They probably should have won. Well, the first was difficult to win, but they should have gone closer. This particular match, Australia were always on top. Let's be honest. Australia really were on top, and Pat Cummins has to be applauded. Mitchell Starc has had a great test. He was. I was concerned he shouldn't be in the team for the last match, but he proved his worth. He tried his guts out. Nathan Lyon came back very well, saying got 5 wickets. Top 3 batters. Obviously, Usman Khawaja is an absolute standout.
He's been having a fantastic year, and we can't miss out Cameron Green's contribution, and Carey started to look good as well. Look, Cameron Green is young. We all know. We Australia cricket want to spend a lot of time in him, and they're investing a lot in him, and he's repaying. He's started to repay, both with bat, both with ball, and he's a good fieldsman. He's a good slipsman. So I think he's got a future, and given an extended run to him, bar the injuries, I think he'll be your search for the all-rounder is done here. And with the reversing ball, he bowled really well. He was the one actually who got the ball reversing this morning. And I remember when I texted you this morning, it was his efforts with the ball that he got the ball going in the morning, whereas the first spell from Starc and Cummins couldn't get the ball going big in the first session, and when soon as Cam Green got the ball, he had that going, and that's where he got the first wicket of Shafiq this morning. So I think Cam Green's efforts got to be applauded as well. And I like Carey with low bouncing pitches. It's not easy to keep. His glove work was quite tidy. He was really good with his manner, the way he conducted himself, kept to the spinners. And also with the bat, both innings, that partnership with Green this inning, this Test match in first innings was so crucial. Now we know that 395 was a big score on this pitch, and we knew anything over 350 was a big score. And we spoke about this on after day one when Australia was 5 for 205, and we said if Australia goes past 350. The game is so much in favour of Australia, and that proved to be that way. And both Green and Carey's got to be given the credit for taking Australia over that 350 par score.
Look, my biggest take of this series is just Australia grew into the series in a way because they started off looking very poor, not able to handle Christians. Again, that came down because they didn't have any match experience. By the end of it, all the players have gained immensely, especially Cameron Green and Swepson into the future. Certainly, even Cummins in the way he approached it. As far as the Australian batters are concerned, certainly Usman Khawaja showed his worth. I'm still the words out on Travis Head, and I wasn't exactly impressed with Warner either. I think they lacked a bit. But I think that the bowling unit, the keeping, the fielding, all that, they got some very good experience on these pitches. And I think that's probably going to put them in good stead for the Sri Lankan and ultimately the Indian series. We've gained a lot from this series, although admittedly...
One thing I just want to mention, I think you touched base on Travis Head a little bit, and we had a good rant about Travis Head yesterday as well. And he looked like, again, he was odd man out. He was patrolling the long boundary where Babar had a rash stroke last over before tea, and it was carrying to him. And Travis Head didn't look like that he was ready for it, so he spilled that catch as well. So I think that's just again proving our conversation from yesterday that I think that Australia selectors might go. And the opportunity now going to Sri Lanka is there to be presented to a young middle order batter, and we spoke about Jason Sangha might be the best fit to come in and play that role at number 6, number 5, and carry that next level of captaincy or vice captaincy and whatnot. But I think the time is right. Heads didn't look like that he was all there for all 3 test matches, not just one. He just didn't look like that. He was all there. Warner, on the other hand, I would say that he had just had a lean patch. I'm hoping that when he goes to India and he gets a bit of a rhythm again before Sri Lanka Test match, I think he will be right. But yeah, Head's position to me is the only position in Australian squad looks dicey. Whereas Pakistan, I would definitely go beyond Fawad. I think Fawad's been proven that his movements are too much. Trigger movement is not really proving anything. So I think if I'm selector at Pakistan camp, I would be trying to get another youngster like Shafiq. Blood him in, give him an extended run, and let him own that number 5, number 6 spot, because I think it's too loose between Babar and Babar at number 4, and then Rizwan at number 6. You need someone you can rely upon to actually hold their position for longer, and Fawad just didn't do it for me. So I would look beyond him, and Hassan Ali was not 100% either. I would actually try and get the leg spinner back for spin stop, and also try and get our mate Haris Rauf back in with the pace. So you could have Shaheen Afridi, Haris Rauf, and Naseem Shah as your 3 quicks, and then you have a leg spinner, and then you can play a finger spinner. So that would be my combination of 5 bowlers. But batting, I would stick with the 5 out of 6 batters at top, but I will try and find a youngster to blood into that number 5 spot in the batting for Pakistan.
You know what's amazing? Just quickly, just based on this loss today, Pakistan was 2nd on the World Test Championship rankings. They're now 4th.
4th, yeah, I thought so.
Australia's 1st. South Africa is 2nd.
Interesting.
India are 3rd. Pakistan are 4th. Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Bangladesh, West Indies, England a lot. But South Africa, I'm sorry, 2nd. So I don't get that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
South
don't
Africa's
get that.
When they beat India and when they beat Bangladesh. So at home, they've done well. I think they've got an easy run home compared to Australia, India. So South Africa could actually throw a surprise there. But I know India will climb up a ladder if they beat Australia, they will go up. But then South Africa surprisingly sitting on 2nd on the ladder. They could actually surprise some of the teams to qualify. And you and I touched base with that opportunity that Pakistan missed by not being competitive in this test match and not winning, let alone drawing. Even if they draw, they would have probably finished as 2nd or 3rd. But, I think they've missed an opportunity for me. But I think they would learn quite a lot. They will actually gain in terms of experience quite a lot. And I think the next 6 test matches that they've got, it would be really crucial at home to be able to dominate and win those test matches to get back in contention.
Yeah, I'm just okay. All right. I'm rather frustrated about the way that Pakistan played this match. They didn't seem to take as much strength of character as they normally do, although they played fantastically throughout the series. First, just especially the way Bubba scored his 196, and it was amazing. But it almost like it was a bit of a down for them in this match. It seemed like they lost their way a little bit, and some of the decisions, such as Rizwan not challenging his wicket, his dismissal, it disappointed me a little bit. Little moments in this match that Pakistan didn't put their front foot forward as well as they normally do. But Fawad Alam, I'm sorry, again a shocking dismissal, very poor technique. I'm sorry. Someone's got to have a good long chat to him about his batting stance, even though it's worked. Yeah, they reckon he's one of the best players of spin. I didn't see any evidence of that in this match. Something's just not right. He almost thinks that he's going to do well next match or next. He has that almost like, as I described it to you earlier, the look of and I hate to use this, but the Travis Head, Fawad Alam. There's almost a similarity in the two. I don't know why I'm saying it, but there's something that they think they score one good performance, so they have to do it for another 5.
The mindset was there. Look, the mindset was
no. It was rather frustrating, I must say. Anyway, so what I was trying to do was I found, as I said, the points table for the World Test Championship stands this way. I've just posted it, by the way, on the channel, guys. But Australia's 1, South Africa 2, India 3, Pakistan's dropped to 4th, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Bangladesh, West New Zealand, forget. It's really between Australia, South Africa, India, and Pakistan. And at the moment, somehow South Africa's there. But South Africa has to play India, Pakistan, or Australia to really prove their worth. And I don't think they won't end up there. It'll be probably India outside Pakistan.
I think Australia, but with this win, India's back in contention. I think Australia's sitting second on the one-day table. I'm not sure about the team ranking for the T20, but in the men's one-day ICC Championship, Australia's sitting second on a one-day ranking. So I can check on the T20.
Well, I have it in front of me here. Test cricket, Australia's number 1, India's 2, 3 is New Zealand, 4 England, 5 South Africa, Pakistan is 6, which I think is a bit of a shock. 7 Sri Lanka, 8 West Indies, 9 Bangladesh, 10 Zimbabwe. So New Zealand, India's second behind Australia. ODIs.
That's the ODI.
New Zealand's first, England second, Australia third, India 4th. Okay. And then for
I've got a T20 table here. So India. So T20 table, India is number 1, England number 2, Pakistan number 3, New Zealand number 4, South Africa number 5, and Australia sitting at 6. Even though they won the T20 World Cup, they still haven't won enough games to be up the ranking. But I think Australia T20 would be really good at home. They're playing only one off T20 here in Pakistan, which means nothing. I think they should have either played 3 T20s or not at all. One T20 means nothing.
But it is interesting, though, because before they won the World Cup last year, they were ranked 6th, and they appeared to be not able to even make the semi-finals, and they somehow did, and they went through and won the final. But they're still ironically ranked 6th. It is a bit unusual. The ODI, New Zealand's got that down pat, and Australia's third there. But in Test cricket, Australia is now certainly number 1. But isn't it funny? South Africa are 5th, yet they're second on the World Test Championship.
That's right. I think that the win percentage, what we talked about the other day, is
I still don't get that. I don't get that. If you're ranked a certain position, that's where you should be in the World Test Championship. They should be the same calculations.
Yeah, I agree. I think the test. I like the percentage method more because the teams who play more test matches would be more advantaged. But with the percentage, it evens out the teams who are not playing many test matches, like teams like Pakistan this year. South Africa not playing a big circle of test matches. Australia, India, and England always seems to play over 15 test matches in a year. So, you know, with that percentage value or percentage rating, I think it evens out for the teams who are not playing too many test matches. So that's why their winning or drawing percentage is quite higher. So they would actually gain more benefit if they lose, they lose the benefit. If they win, they gain more benefit. That's why Pakistan was sitting second. But again, you know, this opportunity with Australia winning has brought back India into contention as well. So, you know, everything is possible, and we are looking for a really good test circle this Asian summer and Aussie summer as well. So it's going to be good test cricket to be played over this 7 or 8 months, I think.
Absolutely. I'm just looking through a few of them now with the live review. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of milestones being created too, with both, well, of course, Steve Smith being the fastest to 8,000 test runs. Warner's not too far behind. He's about 7,700. Obviously, Joe Root's got 9.8, so he's getting close to 10. After today's match, as I think I told you earlier, Nathan Lyons moved to 13th in the overall ranking for most wickets taken. And and Pat Cummins has about 197, I think, wickets now. He's going very, very close to 200 after only 40 tests. He's certainly moving up the rankings. So there's been a fair bit of movement, I must say.
And Babar has moved to number 5 as a test batter overnight.
Yep.
So the ICC's new ranking has come. He's jumped from number 9 to number 5, which is good that, you know, the cream is rising to the top. I'd like to see Kohli making a push in the next test series to be amongst that top 5 again. So, you know, it's really good to see that's getting crowded at top 5, because the point difference between the top 5 batters is not as much now. So I think it's good to see those guys are actually squeezing the top position of Marnus at number 1 spot. He's still holding on to that number 1 spot, but for not many points. I think it's going to be pushed. So next couple of test series, I think it will decide where these guys end up by the end of the year. I think Babar's move is good. He's batted well. His 196 in Karachi was really class innings, and even 50 today. If he would have converted that into 100, that could have saved the match, or that could have, you know, helped him protect one end at least. But, you know, the game is over now. All we can do is just talk about it. But I think there's a lot to like about Pakistan team for the next step.
Hugely. I mean, we're looking here just quickly at the captaincy. Babar Azam generally is a great captain, and he hits the ball beautifully. When he hits the ball, it's magnificent to watch. One of the most stylish batsmen I've seen in a long time. His captaincy was good, but Cummins is growing on me. I've always been a bit skeptical because he's a bowler and he had not a lot of experience, but his attitude is certainly pervading throughout the team. He's well liked. Other teams like him. He's a genuine leader by example, which is very impressive, and I think he's proving his worth. But Himanshu Rahela's in agreement with me. He wants to see Jason Zanger play in next Test series.
Agreed.
I think they need to consider it very strongly, especially in the subcontinent. It's time we get, really, in my opinion, Jason Sanger's like a Usman Khawaja. They're not both left and right-hander. There's something about Jason Sanger that reminds me of Usman Khawaja. That calmness, that intelligence, that he deserves to go. I want to see him. I'm not going to stop talking until he's in the squad. Australia start to think towards the future. You've got a young bloke there that's proving his worth now. Put him in. Get him in the system now.
No doubt.
Obviously wanted to do it a year or so earlier, but he stumbled a bit. But now he's come back with vengeance. He had a bit of a downer. He's come through that, and now he's proving himself. He keeps scoring centuries, especially against touring England, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan sides, every time he scores centuries against the best players in the world. Now, what more does he need to do? I think that there's no doubt he would bat well for Australia and handle that pressure, handle that responsibility. He could be anything. And I think I would love to see Australia take a chance on him early. rather than waiting until he's so-called right. I mean, look at someone like.
I just want to make one point about Cummins' captaincy as well. As you saw in these 3 test matches, one thing that he grew was his change of bowlers. He really played smartly. His changing of bowlers from the right end was really crucial, because if you remember in Rawalpindi, he was bowling the bowlers from wrong end, and he's switching the bowlers and getting, likes of Travis Head and Marnus bowling ahead of your all-rounders and whatnot. So I think his bowling changes, his tactical side of the game aspect got improved with time, and I would like to see that growing day by day. And I think he didn't get as much tested against England in the Ashes, because England were just not good enough. So his tactical side is growing as much as his own game as a number 1 bowler, and that's actually helping him hold his captaincy on its own, rather than relying upon likes of the leadership group in Uzi, Smith, and Warner. I think he was this test match alone, and last day he was just looking above all the other players. He didn't rely upon anyone else. He was making decisions, and it was working for him. And good on him for making those calls, starting from the declaration as well. So that's my additional point on Cummins. With time he'll be really good. And Sangha, we've spoken. I think you and I have harped quite a lot about Sangha to really get him in, take him on tours for both Sri Lanka and India. You got to get him in. He's right. He just scored a big 100 against WA in the Shield game as well. He's ready. He's toughing it through. He's captaining New South Wales. He's captaining Tanda. He's scoring runs in both.
He's got to go. He's got to be taken. They've got to blood him.
No doubt.
I don't want to see, because they won the series Australia, which is great against Pakistan. I don't want certain players to go under the radar because they didn't play well, but they're a part of the winning team. A la Travis Head. Even Warner has to be careful now. He got 50 on the last things I know. But Travis Head and Marcus Harris. Travis and Marcus Harris really needed. Jason Sangha needs to be, even Jason Sangha or Curtis Patterson, they need to be considered over and above these two. They've got to think towards the future. And I just don't think there's a future for Travis Head. And I'm being critical, but I really was happy with the way Brad hadn't agree with me. It showed that it wasn't just me in isolation thinking this. It's well commented on that he is. And the other thing was Labuschagne bowling. I heard commentary today that they thought he was worth it. No, he was rubbish. And why he bowled the first over after lunch? Why he bowled the first over lunch? What on earth? I mean, the last over, okay, try something fluky, but not the first over after lunch. What was that all about?
No. I agree. I think Marnus is good for that one or odd over. He can bowl, come in and take an over before tea or something like that. But he's not your frontline bowler. You got 4 good frontline bowlers, plus you got your all-rounders. You don't need Marnus to come in and bowl 15, 20 overs. He can bowl 1 or 2 overs to give rest to your spinners, or try something different before the break or something like that. But that's about it. I think that's what it's worth for. If you have Sanga's actually bowled quite a lot in first class cricket, so he can be your he bowls his leg spin in white ball cricket and Shield as well. So he's if you get him in, what's stopping? I'm just, if I'm selected, I'll just go Sangha, you're on playing next tour. But I think for Marnus's bowling, I think I agree with you. I think he's got to be used as a last resort, or a couple of overs before the tea break, lunch break, that type of stuff, but not as a lead bowler.
I just want to take. There's a lot of commentary coming through about the women's cricket. It's good to see people obviously now turning their mind to that. Obviously, we've got ODIs and a T20 to come up in between Australia and Pakistan. That's not over yet either. But the women's cricket, a lot of very strong followings for Australia because they've won all 7 of their matches. But I tell you what, today,
Bangladesh, how good.
Lanning got out for a duck against Salima Khatun. And even the way that the Bangladesh opening batters, Murshida Khatun, one of the openers, her nickname is Happy. I know her really well. She's a talent and a half. You know what?
He is.
Bangladesh have come to play. They almost beat Australia. They almost beat the West Indies. They beat Pakistan. They shouldn't have won any games, but they've done fantastically well. I'm very impressed with them.
I tell you what, West Indies now would be hoping that India don't win, because if India don't win, then West Indies qualify for the finals. They want to play semi, and when they play semi, they could do anything. As you saw in T20 Cup, when they got through the semi-final, they end up winning. So West Indies would be hoping that India don't win, or South Africa have a good day against India. That's what West Indies would be hoping. They've played all their games. They're sitting on 7 points. India wins against South Africa. They're through to the semi-final. So it could be Australia, South Africa, India, and England. If India lose against South Africa, it could be West Indies sneak in. So it's really interesting in women's cricket, because we've touched base some of it in the middle part of our test catch up as well. That they are. The women cricket is becoming more attractive to watch as well, because they're hitting big sixes, they're bowling quick, they're taking wickets, the spinners are spinning ball rather than just slow bowlers. Their really skill set is improved if you compare that to last 10 years, it's really really good. And Australia now looking hot favourite to win the cup again.
I was really impressed. I mean, watching Meg Lanning get out for a duck. Alyssa Healy getting out rather cheaply. Rachel Haynes getting out. It was, oh my God, and very impressive. And I've just, as I think I said earlier, I've got this little WhatsApp group with a number of the players in there that I know. They've come in my little group, and they're great. They're all proud of each other, and it's really nice. Really nice. Yeah, good to see. So Paul Newman's making an early prediction that 2-1 to India in the latest series. I've got no doubts India will be very difficult to beat.
I think India will be difficult to beat, yeah.
In Sri Lanka, with 2 tests in Gaul, you'd think the good thing about that series, a lot of the players will get a lot of games, albeit other formats, before the tests come up. So they'll have a bit of acclimatization going on.
That's right.
Have you been to Sri Lanka?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Watching cricket?
Yeah. So with the under-19s.
Oh, do you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. The climate, the weather. We went to Colombo for the under-19 series, so it's fantastic. But I like to go for a full Sri Lankan tour. I haven't been to any other grounds, but it's a fantastic country, lovely beaches.
Well, you know that I did 16 years in a row every year with full cricket tours with Bubba Sorja and his mob and all those guys, and we had Ben Cutting, Ben Dunk, Chris Lynn, Beric Barnes, the whole lot. It was a lot of fun. Over many years, I brought like an older group as well. We had 5 teams. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I'm very fortunate to play. I played on all those grounds, Gaul and SSC, and I love it. Yeah, and I'm very lucky to have a lot of contacts. So I wouldn't mind. I wanted to go to Lahore, which I couldn't go. I'm just frustrated this year with my mother's situation. I can't move too far, but I'm just I'm desperate to go, and I will at some stage.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So what else we got here? We've got some other comments from people all talking about Osman Khawaja. Australia is the best team in the world at the moment. You have to say they are in Test cricket at least. So they also have a tour of Sri Lanka. Yep, that's true. We know that. There's a lot of people making comments. Sri Lanka pearls of jewel. They certainly are. They're a lovely place. Cheating 0.22. India has good cricket. That Pakistan, Australia, India, Pakistan at the moment are leading the world with cricket. South Africa's lurking. I don't quite know why, but England's dropped off a little bit for sure. But there's a test match going on there. Did you see the test score for England? They were 9 for 114. And then the last 2 batters got
top order. Look, it's surprisingly that England worries about red ball cricket is still not getting solved. And you and I touched base when the series was starting, and we thought that's perfect opportunity for England to get back in red ball cricket, because West Indies is not really a force to reckon with in the red ball cricket. So that might give them a bit of a kickstart to get their team balance right and get it going. But look, both test matches, apart from Root scoring 100, Stokes getting 100. Their still top order is still not getting right, and this Test match they're failing again. So I like to see England getting things right before their summer starts, because they've got a big Test match against India as well. That the Test match that got pushed back because of the COVID. So England-India Test match, start of summer, is really crucial. I think that will define India's presence in that World Test Championship or not. So England have got to get it right. They've got more stakes to get the things right, because next summer they will have Ashes as well at home, and if they don't get it right, that would be first Australian Ashes win in England. They've got to get their coach right. They haven't still appointed a coach, and they've got to get their combination right, which I'm now starting to get a bit worried, because they haven't got their cricket sorted.
Now, there's a good question from S. Rowett about why a lot of the under-19 Indian team are always ultimately very successful, and they don't always necessarily convert. Well, it's pretty hard for all these under-19 players to get a Guernsey anywhere higher. The best place for them, of course, is IPL. They get a lot of Guernseys there. The Ranji Trophy is pretty good too. But
Yep.
yeah, it must be very hard to be an Indian cricketer, or for that matter, a Pakistani cricketer, with the wealth of players they've got.
That's right. And these competitions are bringing their best out of Indian cricket, and the competition is getting tougher and tougher. And they were talking about how punt has improved over the last 2 years and become a dominant wicketkeeper batsman who can really hit big and do well. So I think Indian cricket is in good stead for next few years. I don't see a big slump coming India's way. And their white ball cricket is sorted. Their red ball cricket is sorted. Dravid is now doing a lot of good things with the national team. He's done hard yards with the junior squads for the last couple of years, and now Lakshman is looking after the academy and the junior squads. So I think India's got a lot of things right. They've gone through that political change and interference, and beyond that, now they've really focused on getting the cricket right. And obviously, if they get their cricket right, a lot of revenue flows in naturally. Who are the most populated country to watch cricket? It's India, with one sport dominating. So it's good to see India still dominating. But I like to see I like the looks of Pakistan this series. I think they're coming back to their old foes of having a good Test team. They've always had a good white ball cricket, but not Test cricket team. So I think they're on the way to getting a good Test team now.
So does Lahore Qalandars do that every year? They go out into the social media world and go into the mountains and get players come and do the batting, bowling, and they do that every year? Or was it just that 1 year?
Yeah, now because of the corona last couple of years, they've now set up an academy in Lahore. So what they were inviting people to send their videos and whatnot, and they would invite the players to come into the academy and do a trials and train with the Qalandar squad, and they've got like a regional competition going underneath the PSL. They're playing regional 2020 competition to go out to different region or the bush or the mountains to try and find someone. So that's where their contribution is massive, and I think they will continue to do that because they're finding a lot of good players coming through the ranks and making name for themselves.
So predictions for the ODI series between Australia and Pakistan, there are what? Three matches at 3 ODIs? Is it 3 ODIs?
3 ODIs, 1 T20. So I think
1 T20, all Lahore.
Or at Lahore. I think Australia, with not all the preferred players playing, it is quite open. I'd like to see 2-1 to Pakistan, because Pakistan will play full strength. Australia with bowling attack, they're lacking few of the bowlers. Richardson just got injured, and Benny Dorsch has got a run. So I hope he plays. He's deserved his opportunity. He's been knocking the door down for the last couple of years with white ball cricket in Big Bash and white ball one-day competition here at domestic level. So I hope he gets a run. I hope he plays, makes his debut. Other than that, Jason Barrendorf is also there. Maxwell's out because of his
But
wedding.
Stark, Cummins, they're going, aren't they?
They're going home. So is Smith, and I think, I'm not sure if David Warner. I think David Warner is going back home as well.
Well, they're going to. Some of them are going straight to the IPL.
No, I think they're going home and then going IPL. I'm not sure, but I could be wrong.
Hazelwood's, he's not staying either. I think he's going to the IPL.
He's going home as well. He's going IPL. He's the other one that they will miss in the white ball cricket. So there's a lot of young white ballers. They will go. Zampa will be there. But I'd like to see, with that weakened bowling attack of Australia, I'd like to see Pakistan winning 2-1 at least, if not 3-9. I don't see Australia winning 3-0 or Pakistan winning 3-0. I think it'd be 2-1. I think one way or the other.
This is a great. I think this is. I would love to see this happen. I'd love to see Ravi Shastri coach Australia.
I don't see it happening. I don't. Unfortunately, Australia have experienced.
Actually, why don't we ever have Indian coaches?
No, well, we've had one experience with foreign coach in South Africa, Mickey Arthur. It didn't work. The coaching psychology or coaching philosophy here in Australia is quite different to being in overseas, and that's why it has never been a successful experience. You know, they tried that with Mickey Arthur. It didn't work. You know, they've always had a local coach, whether it's on a short term or a long term basis, but you know, the mentality or the camaraderie between the coach and the players always worked with the local coach. Even though with Justin Legan it didn't last long, but you know, it's been one of those things. So
it's rather novel. That's good.
Yeah, true.
Although Sri Lanka seem to be, they're going to take on Silverwood. Chris Silverwood is what it appears to be happening.
I think word that once his appointment, because they haven't got the rest of the support staff appointed as well. So I think once that appointment is announced officially, then they will go and appoint the rest of the staff, because their fielding coach has resigned as well, and he's joined Bangladesh. So they've got spots on the support staff which they will fulfill once they announce the head coach. I think that's where they're heading, and whoever is going to take head coach role there, it's got a lot of work to do. It's got, you know, to get Sri Lanka out of where they are at the moment. They've got plenty of talent, but they've got to get that right politically and dealing with the players. So, you know, a lot of work to be done.
There's a lot of discussion about how Sri Lanka, the Australians get prepared for Sri Lanka. Well, they're gonna be in the subcontinent, that's for sure. A lot of them will be in the various IPL teams and what have you. So they'll be probably slotting themselves in around. I mean, really.
No, I've just said one thing before, with these test series and going to an unknown territory. Good old days, you go and play a couple of practice matches. You know, you play your 3-day matches, 4-day matches, and I like to see that come back, because it is in Aussie winter. There will be no cricket for the guys who are staying back, apart from going to England. The conditions in England are flip side to what the conditions in Sri Lanka are going to be. So it's really, really hard for those guys to actually prepare mentally or physically for those conditions in Sri Lanka. It's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and it's going to be slower turners compared to England or India. So those guys, and plus they'll be playing white ball cricket in a T20 competition rather than playing in a red ball. So when they come back from IPL in May, they've got about three and a half weeks to prepare at home. But what would they be preparing with? They'll be indoors. They'll be preparing indoors, or they'll be having rest. You know, it's not ideal preparation, as we've touched base previously. That, you know, I'd love for Cricket Australia to go to Sri Lanka a week or so early and play another additional 3-day match or something like that. Play a practice match amongst the squad, just to get used to the conditions, weather, pitches, you know, food, all of that. It's just so important. We're lacking that preparation in modern day cricket, which is shame, because look in this test series, Australia arrived in Pakistan 3 days before the first test match. You know, they had no preparation to go into test match, and that's really hard with modern day cricket.
It's really I understand times are the essence, and they often go straight to a new location and play their first match because they've got simply no time. They've got to try and do something about it. It's all about money, unfortunately, isn't it? It's no longer about proper preparation. It's just you're getting paid a lot of money, perform from day one, and no prep. That's what it comes down to. All right. Well, thanks, Mazni. we had a good session. If you want to go, you can, because you've been on for a very solid amount of time.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say I'll probably excuse myself, and it has been a solid discussion all through 5 days, and
Been
we've seen
fantastic. Well,
fantastic
15 days actually.
15 days. We've seen fantastic cricket in test matches, and I think I'm looking forward to now switching to white ball and seeing some more good cricket between these two teams. The camaraderie between the two teams has been really good. Spirit between the teams has been really fantastic. And I hope this tour finishes and opens the floodgate for Pakistan cricket in future.
I'd love to be able to go and see Pakistan play against England and New Zealand or South Africa, whoever they're playing at home in the future when I've got more time to go. I'd love to cover that. Great.
It'd be
and the
nice.
PSL next year too.
Absolutely. Let's plan something. We'll do a program.
Mate,
from
again,
Pakistan.
all the people watching need to thank Mosen Sheikh. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's been here for virtually every day of the series, given great understanding of both teams, the preparations that what they're going through, the insights has been absolutely fantastic. Very impressive indeed. Stand out. You get 5 stars from me, and you should be player of the match in terms of commentary.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much for kind words, and thanks to your audience as well. You've been great.
Thanks, Mosen. Thank you very much.
Talk to you. Cheers, mate.
Talk soon.
Bye. Bye.
No, it's been great. I mean, both Beram Aram, we've had Aparna Saini there. We've had obviously Mosen Sheikh. A lot of people have come on and been very good supporting guests. Do I agree for specialist coaches for red ball cricket? Well, white ball cricket national team. You mean separate coaches for each format? I tend to agree with that. I think that's the way they're moving more and more these days. I think there's a lot more of that going on, where they are moving towards that concept of being, for a specific format, and you'll find that more and more the case. But coaches really are background people. They're not meant to be as forceful as what Justin Langer certainly has been. He certainly has proven to not be successful at that. But some countries need it, of course. But yeah, England's still yet to get a national coach. Sri Lanka's going close with Selwood. Australia's without a national coach. It's quite a few countries that are looking to get that sorted. Nice to have new people doing a great job. Yes, I agree. Paul Newman says thank you to Mosney. He's been fantastic. He certainly has. And so have you all. It's been all great. It's been a wonderful series, and we really have taken a lot out of this. We've had a very good set of guests that have come along. The games have been fantastic. Subscribers are going well. But guys, don't just if you're from Pakistan, you're following the series, don't just go off subscribing because the series is over. Because I will cater for all needs. I'm going to have a lot of I want to go to Pakistan, whether it's Australia involved or not. I think there'll be some great times in the future there. It'd be great to see everyone that's just been there is absolutely raving about it. It's been really fantastic, actually. Really, really fantastic. So I take my hat off to the way the Pakistan's handled it. So the Sri Lankan series is July. Okay, Paul, the series, I'll read it out again for those. Pakistan's also their head coach, are they? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so the so-called tour of Sri Lanka, which is has been announced. There's a certain set of dates. Okay, the dates are, it starts June 7th, Paul Newman, with June 7th, 8th and 11th being the first, second and third T20 Is in Colombo, probably Premier League Stadium. Then June 14, 16, 19, 21st and 25th will be 5 ODIs. The first 2 in Kandy, which is up country, and then the next 3 will be in Colombo. Then the test matches where Australia's involved against Sri Lanka, both in Galle in the southwest. The first being June 29th to July 3rd, and then again July 8th to July 12th is the second test. Only 2 tests, which I'd like to see more. There should be at least 3. I don't get having so few. That's not the way I would operate. I would make sure that we'd get the whole gamut of activity there in terms of at least 3 tests. You could have at least 3 tests. You can't not have 3 tests, can you? The series can't be just 3 tests. Then you change England and Pakistan I don't know offhand, but I believe it's happening. I believe England are playing Pakistan in Pakistan and even New Zealand. South Africa were mentioned. I'm not sure whether they are. Cam Green is a big match winner. I love the way this man is. He's going to be a champion. Took the first wicket today. Crucial first wicket. Then Lyon took the next three biggies. So, there's a lot to be said about that. All right. When will Australia tour South Africa for this series to cancel? Good question. It hasn't been discussed at all, as a matter of fact. So I don't know what's going on there. Really, South Africa snuck into second position in the World Test Championship. I don't think they deserve to be there at all. Anyway, see what happens there. Head should definitely go. They won't drop him now that they've won the series, but he should be. I would agree with that. Well, they've got to think of bringing Jason Sam. Can Aussies win the ODI series? They're going to find it difficult, I think. Pakistan at home in ODIs and T20s, more their forte. I would argue that's a pretty strong mob they've got there. They're in their squads. And the introduction of Harris Ralph, Usman Kadir, Abdul Kadir's son, will be interesting as well. What mistake did Australia make in Karachi after rolling out Pakistan for 145? Then go. Well, they probably underestimated how well Pakistan could bat, actually, and they didn't bowl that well. Whereas in this test, they made up for that, where they bowled a lot better and were more directed and more focused and more plans in place to actually win that. So that's probably what the result of that was, I would say. Yeah. I want Cam Green to play ODI match at number 5. He could easily do that. I don't know whether he's not really a part of the short format. He's more of a test format player. I don't know why he is, but that's what's been the case. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what they end up doing there with him. All right, guys. We're coming up to 1 hour and 22 minutes. We've done it pretty early today because we had a chance to finish early. So if you'd like to just let me know any more questions. Lyon, in hindsight, saved Australia in the second test with these 3 late wickets. Yeah. It wasn't as... He's never going to be a Shane Warne. He knows that. But he has taken the 13th highest wicket taker of all. He's gone ahead of Sean Pollock and Harbhajan Singh, and he's now 13th, and he'll probably end up being in the top 10 within the rest of this year. I would say probably will be in that, and it'll be his for the taking. Great work from Australia. There's people all saying that, which is is a fair comment. It's been a congratulations, Team Australia. It's pretty good. Oh, certainly deserve the accolades they're getting. There's no doubt about that. Let's see if they put out a media release yet. No, media release is a little bit slow. Probably a lot of celebrating going on there. Oh, yeah, there's been very much a Lyon. Nathan Lyon's certainly worthy of being in the squad. We know that. He certainly played out of his skin, hasn't he? He certainly has. Any more questions, guys? Of course, in the women's cricket, Australia are through, South Africa second, with either probably England will win their last match, they'll be third, and then the fourth side will be probably India if they beat South Africa. If they don't beat South Africa, it'll be the West Indies. With New Zealand not faring well at all, sad to say. Bangladesh went very close, and so did Pakistan. Off to bed. Good night. See you, Paul Noon. All the best to you. I'm starting to feel it too, guys. I've played a very long week. It was a very, very long week. Any other questions, guys? it's one of those time frames that we can all be glad about. It's been a great series, but there's still the ODIs to come and the T20, and we move into the IPL starting this weekend, the end of the Women's World Cup. Then we move from IPL into the Sri Lankan series, which is other international series going on. And then ultimately, I think there's an Indian series. And then ultimate for Australia is the World Cup, the T20 World Cup next year. This year, sorry, after having had it last year. Then we move into the summer season here. But we're not fit for captain. I don't know about that. I think that's a bit hard. I think he is fit. What are your thoughts on Marco Jansen? Yeah, very promising. A lot of guts. He showed a lot of determination, actually. I'm relatively impressed with him. Didn't think he would be that good. Bubba not fit for captain. He is fit for captain. He's fit for a lot of things. But you probably need something with a bit more edge. Azhar Ali was a pretty good bloody captain. I would have kept him on, to be honest with you. Got a lot of time for him. Azhar Ali was photographed for my thumbnail for this, but unfortunately it didn't get as many runs as he was out to a decision, which probably was not the right decision. The truth be known. The Cincinnati Rabbitohs won. They won against the Roosters, Eastern Suburbs Roosters, which is always a big deal. Marco Jansen, as I said earlier, S-Row is pretty good. Although he could be susceptible to breakdowns, quite a very skinny physique, albeit tall. All right, guys. I'm starting to get a bit on the tired side. So, any other questions, guys, before we leave? Anyone that's online that hasn't subscribed to this YouTube channel is not good. Well, you need to hit the pillow. I think so, Pranav. I've had a long time. But you guys aren't asking me questions, so you need to hit the pillow. Yes, I do. Anyone have any more questions for me? No? If you haven't got any more questions, I will go. That was 992, that was there. Let's go back here. Looking at some revenue figures here. To 9. Okay. All right. Any more questions? No. Only about hitting the pillow. That's the only question I've been getting. Okay, we have got a question. Do you agree for specialist coaches? I already talked about that. I said yes. Pakistan is also without a coach. Oh, I didn't realise that. Any chance of being on Pakistan? Well, I would say so. Can Aussie win the? I said I think they've got a good chance, but whether they will. Wasn't Cam Green playing ODI match at number 5? Apparently, I'm not sure. I'll wait and see what he does. South Africa has got good test players like Keegan Peterson, Irwin, and a good time. Marcus, looking forward to Australia tour of South Africa. It is going to be exciting whenever that's earmarked to happen. South Africa has got good test players like double of messages there. All right. It certainly is a big thank you there. Okay. If there are another question, guys, I will go. Last chance for the questions. Awesome. Okay. All right. It's that time I go. Sarah has got. Yeah, we all know that. So, all right, guys, it's time to leave. See you again tomorrow. View, like, and share. Eyes on Cricket Norman Contact. There's my Instagram and Twitter handle, my normal Facebook page, and my LinkedIn page. But again, YouTube, Eyes on Cricket, Norman Kosnick. Subscribe, and we'll stay tuned. And you can also get notifications of my next session. All the best, guys. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, because I certainly enjoyed it. Even though Australia didn't win 1-0, it was worth it watching the whole series. All right, guys, take care. All right.